Michael's in the bathroom, Michael's in the bathroom, please don't sue me. 'Cause I use a song. Well, I use it because my name is Michael and I'm in the bathroom. I'm basically in here because it has pretty good lighting. Downside to my apartment being built around the 80s is lots of bad lighting. But I want to take this time to tell y'all a story. So I guess this could be my first storytime video on here. I want to let y'all know about the time that I met Dr. Maya Angelou. It was back in February of 2005, and I was on the newspaper staff for the San Antonio College Ranger. I was about 20 years old at the time. I had just turned 20 back in December. Yes, I'm a Capricorn, which I guess that accounts for my crippling anxiety and draconian work ethic, and my feeling of never quite measuring up. Well, anyway, my mother and my sister chipped in together and bought me tickets to see Maya Angelou speak in a series of lectures on Black history at Trinity University in their Laurie Auditorium. While in journalism class, we were studying different types of stories, and I thought, oh, I'm going to see Maya Angelou. Maybe I can make this a story. I could report on the speech. And my editor and the advisor for the newspaper were all on board. And I got a hold of, God, I can't remember what her name is to this day. Because it was back in 2005. It was years ago. But I remember her office was on Hackberry Drive. She was the organizer of the event. And she had her own PR company. Well, she set everything up. And then I got a call. Well, I guess before I get the call, I'm going to tell you what happened. I almost got in a wreck on the way into school, to start preparing to go to the speech. I was driving along I-10, on the access road by Wurzbach, and this car was speeding, and it scared the shit out of me. So I stopped, and it went around me and crashed. Well, the cops arrived at the scene. My dad happened to be sitting in the Denny's restaurant right there and saw it, so my dad was there right away. And what's funny is the cops did not rule me at fault. And what's funny was the one witness described me as a woman. Does this look womanly? So anyways, I was not found at fault. And I got to school. And I was told by my advisor, she was like, Michael, you need to be over there at Trinity. Maya wants to meet you. It's like, oh, hell. So I scrambled. I got to my car. And I sped all the way over to Trinity University. And I was like, if I get pulled over, I don't care. I get to meet Maya Angelou. Well, I got there, and I was there with my photographer. I remember his name was David. I think it was David Flores. Hey, David, if you're out there somewhere, shout out to you. And we were brought backstage, and it was me and a few other reporters. And we all had books for Maya to sign, so I gave her my book, which the only book I was able to find was this really old poetry book. It was a paperback that I read often, because I am a huge Maya Angelou fan. Like Stan level. My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. But I'm not killing anybody, so I guess I'm better off. Well, I had this book of poetry. I bought it at B. Dalton's right before they closed. God, don't you miss B. Dalton's? And I handed it to her. And we talked backstage, and it was a magical experience. Having a conversation with Dr. Angelou is like, you two are the only people in the whole room. Not even the whole room, but in the whole entire world. She wanted to know all about me. I told her I'm a reporter. She said, "No, son, you are a writer, and you're going to be a great writer." And now that I think about it, I think that's kind of foreshadowing. Because, I left journalism years ago, and I'm now an English major, and I'm currently working on a book with the help of one of my professors. So I'm wondering if Dr. Angelou foretold all that. And I remember I was leaning up against a wall, and she told me, "Michael, lean to nobody and bow only to God." And I asked her, I said, "Did Vivian, that was her mother's name, tell you that?" She said, "No, I just thought of it right now. Quit slouching." So I stood up straight. And I got my picture taken with her. And my photographer was about to leave because he didn't have a ticket for the event. And she told him, said, "No, you're my personal guest." So we sat and watched the show. And I noticed when she was on stage, she was reading from a book. It was my book that she was reading from. And she remarked about how that book looked well loved, which it was. And I remember I was so worried that she would not have time to sign my book. But I got a photo with her, which I don't have anymore from all these years of moving. So if anybody at the San Antonio College Ranger archives, if y'all come across that photo, please let me know. I would love to have it. Well, anyways, I thought my book wasn't signed. I was like, okay with it. Because I had this whole magical experience. A couple days later, I opened up to the second or third page. There was the signature. She didn't sign it in the front. She signed it a few pages in. And it says, "To M. Ormond, with love." My name's Michael Ormond. And that was just such a magical, wonderful experience. And I wanted to talk to y'all about that because right now, we're all in quarantine. We all have a lot going on, and we're under a lot of stress. So I think it's a good idea to remember those magical moments that make life great and look forward to having even more of those magical moments. And during that time, I'm going to go back in time a little bit to my senior year of high school. When I was a little kid, I was a voracious reader. I know a lot of people think that word is so overused, voracious reader. But it's just, I like the way it sounds, and it describes it to a T. What should I say? Rapacious reader? But of course, that would imply I'm doing something inappropriate to the books. Well, when I entered the third grade, all of our reading assignments became about quantity and how much you're reading, how many chapters you're reading, how many pages you're reading, how many words. It was not about the books itself. So I stopped enjoying reading. And then I was in 12th grade in Miss Nassis's English 4 dual credit course. And she assigned us a story that was in our textbook, which was called King of the World. It was written by Maya Angelou, which was a chapter out of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And I read that, and I was struck, and I was like, I have to read more. So I went to the school library, and I found a copy of Caged Bird. I was like, oh my God, I have to know more. So I started checking out all of the books that she had written and her poetry. And it was Maya Angelou who reignited my love with literature. Then right after that, we read Alice Walker's Everyday Use. And then we read some Faulkner. And now I am an English major, which I will be doing some more book reviews on this channel, which there's a couple of animated book reviews I made a few years ago, but that software no longer exists. So I figured, now I would just do book reviews face-to-face like this with you and talk about books. And during that time that I met Maya Angelou, I was freshly diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And about a week before I met with Dr. Angelou, Which, if this is a trigger warning for anybody, click off now. I'll understand. I was prescribed Zyprexa to try to level my moods. What happened was I kept falling asleep like a narcoleptic. Like, I was in my freshman comp class and I just kept falling asleep while talking to the class. I managed to get home and I slept for like a good 24 hours. And then the next day, I slit my wrist and I was rushed to the emergency room. And this is something that everybody goes through, or a lot of people go through. Not everybody, not everybody's been suicidal, but I thought I would talk about it so that you're not alone. And meeting Maya Angelou helped get me through that very dark time in my life. And I hope that you find something to help you get yourself through the dark times, especially right now. And remember, stay delightfully offensive, and glitter covers all your sins. Goodbye.